Hey guys, PrinceofMacedon here. I'm going to do a commentary video for Rome Total War. It's a multiplayer battle, and this is part of my What If series where I pit two commanding officers against each other, two commanders who had never faced each other in combat. Hence the name What If Battle. And in this What If Battle I am doing two request commanders. One is the legendary gladiator slave commander Spartacus, and he's going up against the famous Gallic commander Vercingetorix. And my army is based on the slave army found at the Battle of the Illyrian River, and my opponent's army is based on Vercingetorix's rather lean 20,000 strong army found at Gergovia. Although my opponent did add 2 units because he had money left over. I told him not to do that, but he did it anyways, so whatever. So look at my slave army first. I'm going to list the components. My army is actually also influenced by the BBC show Time Commanders, where they had all these gladiators. But in reality, the gladiator contingent of Spartacus's army would have been very small. When they broke out of Capua, they only had 78 gladiators, and that was the core of that army. But I did leave about... I did stick with it with 3 gladiator units, but I cut out the rest of them. And the rest of my army is composed of warbands and hastati and peasants and skirmish type units. Also, one little discrepancy here between this and the Battle of the Illyrian River is that I kept Spartacus on horseback. At the Battle of the Illyrian River, Spartacus actually got rid of his horse because he said that he would not need his horse in that battle. But for the most part, Spartacus would have been mounted on horseback. Alright, look at my army here. I got peasants in the back right here, they're hiding. And I also have this hidden contingent of cav and some peltasts. And if you're wondering how Spartacus got cav in his army, considering that they're all slaves, they actually raided the Italian countryside, and that was the result. They captured those horses. Alright, I'm going to start off the battle. My opponent's going to charge down my left, and I'm going to charge down the center with my gladiators. Look at this, guys. It's all about freedom! Yeah, as for the Gallic army, it was actually pretty small at the Battle of Gergovia, but that was the one battle where Vercingetorix was successful against Caesar, and it was only about 20,000 strong. Unlike the Battle of Alesia, where he had just tons and tons of troops, but it wasn't very effective, if you ask me. Alright, so I'm smashing my opponent on this side here with my warbands. I got pretty lucky there. There's my hastati. And yeah, most of the peasants would have, or most of the slaves, they would have used whatever weapons they could find. And whenever they defeated these Roman armies sent against them, they would have been using these Roman weapons. And the reason why the gladiator force would have been really small is that even the gladiators would have got rid of their gladiator weapons when they could, whenever they found Roman weapons, because Roman weapons were generally more no-nonsense. And plus the gladiator weapons reminded them of their slavery. Alright, look at this. I take out my force here. I'm going to ambush my opponent. He did not see my cav or my peltas in the back. I'm just going to charge into his superior cav here. I've got my warbands coming out. I've got my cav. But his Gallic cav is so awesome that they're actually going to rout my guys here. And I wanted the Gallic cav to be awesome like this because they were pretty awesome. Look at that. He's just routing my dudes here. It's pretty ridiculous. And yeah, even my peasants. Like, they didn't lose any troops, but they just... I mean, they might have lost a few troops, but they ran out of here. Darn peasants. Over here, though, I have more success. Well, actually, it's kind of up in the air still, in the middle, but my opponent is dominating my left flank here. But I'm going to keep pouring on the pressure here. I'm going to pour in from all sides. And this is the cool way. I mean, I wanted the army of Spartacus to be using these ambush tactics, because that's the way they would have fought, because Spartacus knew that he could not fight the Romans in a pitched battle because the Romans had superior weapons. And, you know, plus the gladiator army, or the slave army, they weren't as well trained as the Roman army, so he avoided pitched battles wherever possible. And at the famous battle on Vesuvius, that highlighted his tactics. That's when Glauber, he just decided to block the road, trying to starve the gladiators out. But at night, the gladiators climbed down the other side of the mountain, and they attacked the Romans from the other side while they were sleeping. And that just highlights just how ruthless and what kind of tactics the army of Spartacus would have been using against their opponents. Basically, you have to use, you have to deal with the hand that you're dealt. I think I misworded that, but whatever. You guys know what I'm saying. All right, so look what's going on here. I'm surrounding my opponent in the middle here, And we actually destroyed his chosen swordsman. I was happy about that. Because that was the cream of his infantry right there. But my opponent still has these guys who came back from routing. Not to mention his victorious troops from his left there. I got some more troops back here, but they are slowly making their way forward here. But here is the fight that matters. Right here, his victorious right, which was my left, against my center here. It's everybody. I'm gonna throw in my Spartacus general unit here. Like, everyone's gonna be involved in this fight. Look at that. Even his general Vercingetorix is in here.
The enemy,
or he was in there. We killed him though.
General is slain, and now he's
so we killed Vercingetorix. That's a good thing, I think. Where's my general at? Anyways, stand by for the next battle, where I command Vercingetorix's army. Get against my opponent.